G'day, it's Matt and Chrissy here from Couple of Sitters again, and we are talking today about how to get started house sitting AU, which is Australia, for all of you Aussies.
Off they go, bags in tow. Matt and Chrissy hit the road. Maps unfold, stories told. Adventures never getting old. Matt and Chrissy roam so free through the city, past the
So,
sea.
Chris, this morning we had some really interesting messages come back from one of our friends who she's never done any house sits before.
She didn't even think about it before.
Yeah, she'd never thought of it before. And she's recently, since the first video, which check the link out up there or there, whichever way YouTube chooses to put it up or whatever platform you're on, she watched the first video and she took a few steps and had her first house sit booked within about 2 or 3 days. And this morning I got another message off her saying, oh, I've had another 2 offers come through. So, wow, she must be doing something right.
I think we need some tips from her.
Oh, yeah. So what we'll do, we'll ask her for her tips, and you can check out our tips on the previous videos and get the best of both worlds. Let's get into it. We are looking at the benefits of house sitting. We have covered these briefly before, but what would you say your favourite benefits? Quick, 60
spending
seconds.
time with the animals.
Living rent-free.
Saving lots of money.
Living like a local. All right, so we're going to talk about getting set up. Your house sitting profile. What are some of the most important things that you need to make sure that you've got so your house sitting profile rocks?
References always help.
What about thumbs over the frame when you're taking a photograph?
Yeah, good photos is always a bonus.
Yeah.
I have seen some very funny photos. There's a hilarious one of a dog that we house sat, and the owner's a graphic designer, and he did all these. He'd taken multiple photos of the dog and like redid it. It was really hilarious. I think we'll have to put it in. It's just too
that was
funny.
Ollie. Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It's
Ollie.
hard to explain. He did some.
Yeah, no. So you're looking at this photograph of Ollie, and this isn't what you would do. Like, don't do this on your profile. It'll creep people out. But what he did, he took a photograph of Ollie and he took other little photos of Ollie and he stuck like an Ollie on Ollie's ear and an Ollie on Ollie's shoulder and like different sized little dogs. This dog had 6 dogs on him.
Minimum.
Yeah, it was like, where's Ollie on Ollie? It was so funny. And he forgot that he actually used that photo as a part of his profile for the house sitting gig. So don't do that. Don't put a little head here and a little head there and an arm sticking out your ear. Probably gonna put people off.
Weird.
Yeah.
Make sure you have a good detailed profile so that people can get to know you a little bit, because let's face it, you're a complete stranger in most cases. What are the keys to success?
If you want to be successful as a pet sitter, and look, generally, if you want to be successful in life or business, communication is really important. And treating the other person, and it doesn't matter whether or not you're dealing with them in business or if you're dealing with them as general day-to-day, treat everyone like a customer, and that way they feel appreciated, they feel like you're there to provide service. It's really important to make sure that you come across as if you are there to help and you're prepared to help. People really value that.
Professionalism and courtesy is obviously all wrapped up in that bundle, and make sure that when you get an inquiry, be really responsive and make sure you're engaging.
If you can make that communication swift, the great thing about that is if you're after a house sit or if you're after a house sitter, chances are you're going to lock them down a lot quicker, because like us, if we're looking for a sit, we've got 5 or 6 applications going at the same time for different places that fit our brief, and we take the one that we want the most because we're looking to get on with our day and do things. The clock's ticking, and the same thing goes for the house sitters too. Like if a pet parent sends you a message and you don't reply, keep in mind for them, the clock's ticking too. Like they've got plans, they need to be somewhere, and they're trying to lock down someone to provide a service. What about times and like ETAs, people coming back after their holidays?
Yes, so it's really important for both the pet sitter and the pet owner to be clear on times. We need to be really considerate about how long it's going to take to get to places, and if there's an expectation to be at one place after another place, that those timelines aren't crossing over.
The whole thing's interconnected and it all flows. So it's not about us and us only, it's about who we're helping on the other end as well. One of the other things that I like to make sure that we do as a part of our sits towards the end is we'll message the pet parents. You've just been on a long flight. If you'd like us to vacate, half an hour before you get back, we're happy to do that. Just let us know if it works for you. So that way they can get off a long flight and a long journey home and just drop their bags and just settle back into their home without feeling like they need to entertain us. It can be pretty taxing doing that after such a long flight. What do we do with our first house sitters? How do we get started?
When we got started, we stayed close to our friend's house. So we were staying at a friend at the time because we'd just recently moved to Queensland, and our first house sit was about a half an hour drive away.
Keeping it as a short sit too, it's a good way to get started first. Short sits are better than long sits when you're just getting started. Dip your toe in the pool, don't dive in the deep end. When you're on the house sit, make sure you follow the instructions for the house sit, because there's a reason why you're there, and the animals have got a certain care routine, feeding routine. Don't deviate from that, because you might have a dog, for example, that has digestive issues and it reacts to things like lamb. And if you think, oh, dogs and bones, they're all good. Not always, not always. Sometimes there's a reason for these things, and just follow the pet parent's instructions. The other thing you want to do is make sure you keep the place clean and tidy. Now, everyone's got different standards. What you probably want to do is have a look at the place you're going into and saying, okay, how do I either match this or improve this? You can never go lower.
And you want to always update the pet parents and let them know how things are going. We like to use Instagram and tell them that they can see photos of their pets on there, but we will also communicate with their preferred communication method throughout the house sit. So after a house sit, what do we do to build rapport?
The first thing we do is we make sure that when we leave, we send them a thank you message, or we leave a thank you card. And what we do inside the thank you message is we outline to them what we've done, so that they know when they get home that the floors have been vacuumed and cleaned, the showers are clean, the linen's been changed, the towels are all washed, so they don't feel like they need to come back and start cleaning up after us. That takes pressure off them from one sense, but it also showcases what we've done, and they can look around and go, wow, because some people don't notice the little things that you do. For us, for example, when we finish up a house sit, we'll make sure that the kitchen benches are all nice and tidy. We'll get some methylated spirits and paper towel, and we'll wipe down the tapware, so if it's chrome, it's all shiny. And that way they walk into a nice home that's sparkling, like literally sparkling. And it's just a nice experience, I feel, to be able to come back to something like that. Another one of the little tricks that I like doing, sounds a bit weird, but when you go to the hotel, and if the toilet roll's partly used, they fold it into a little triangle at the end. I'll try and do that. We'll try and make it feel like they're coming back to a hotel. We roll the towels too. Check out the video here on how we roll the towels. This is a really, really cool trick that we've had people leave absolutely amazing reviews for us just based on the towels alone.
We've had house sits that we've gone back to do another house sit, and the towels are still rolled the same way because they didn't know how to redo it.
They didn't want to break it.
Kind of useless for a towel, but
yeah. But it's really nice to be able to see that sort of stuff, and the fact that the effort that we put in is appreciated, and people just want to keep things looking nice. And we have found that that thank you message has been really great. Asking for reviews on the back of something like that is really, really easy, and it's so important. It helps you keep your momentum going, which once you've got that ball rolling, hey, do what you can to keep the ball going.
Now, if you're not using a app which collects all the review information for you, make sure that you're collecting that information and showcasing it somewhere. It could be on one of your social media platforms, or if you're savvy enough, you might pop it onto your website. There's lots of opportunities. Share those with other people so that they can see what you're up to and the reviews that you're getting.
And if you've got new photos that you've taken and you're using a platform like Trusted House Sitters, you can update your photos there, and it's good to keep those live. Like, keep them moving through. Recycle the older photos with newer ones, so that when you turn up, you don't look like you're 30 years older than when you first took the photo, and that the animals are in the photo with you. People don't want to see just smiling photos of you with other people. You're showcasing that you're there to look after their fur babies. So put yourself in a picture with a fur baby and leverage that.
And be proactive with applying for house sits, because let's face it, they're not going to come to you. Now, as far as we're aware, there are no certifications for pet sitting in Australia, but that doesn't mean that there aren't things to take into consideration. So we're going to cover that on another episode.
Yes, we will look at the tax and legal side of things. We are not tax advisors or legal advisors. We'll just provide you with our understanding of the information. If you need advice, seek advice from someone who's qualified to provide it. Pepper and Patches, these gorgeous little Shih Tzus that we looked after. What did we feel was our biggest concern with Pepper and Patches when we first took the set on Chris?
For me, I think it was their age. Pepper in particular was really struggling. His eyesight was not so great and he couldn't walk for very long distances and his breathing was quite heavy. And so a lot of my concern was for his health.
Pepper was about 15 and Patches was 14. The sort of things that we needed to make sure that we did when we were on that sit to keep them comfortable and keep them well was to keep the house open and accessible for them and make sure there was plenty of water around, that it was cool and that there was airflow. Because these two little dogs, they did find that the heat was a bit of a challenge. This was in Brisbane and it was during the warmer parts of the year in Brisbane too. When it came to walking, Pepper and Patches had a little bit more energy than Pepper and would take the lead and be a bit more curious. You know, being a year younger, there was a noticeable difference between the two. And Pepper was sort of making his way up the hill a little bit, and you know, they normally only do maybe 100 metres and then they'd be conked out and need to be carried home. But how did we handle the walks with them, Chris? It gave them a chance to explore and just do it on their terms.
We just walked slowly.
Pretty much, it was that hard. We just walked slowly. We didn't have any rush to get to where we were going. A walk around the block for us could normally be done in 2 or 3 minutes, but we took half an hour to walk around the block with these little pups. And if it looked like they needed to be picked up and carried, then that's what we do. But we only need to do that once. And the rest of the time they would just be wandering around, having a little bit of an explore, a bit of a sniff, weighing on as many things as they could on their way past. We did take a little water bottle with us and a little bowl to be able to make sure they'd stay hydrated as part of that walk too. And we also made sure that the walk wasn't done in the hottest parts of the day. Being able to work remotely, the best time for us to be able to take them for a walk was, drum roll,
First thing in the morning.
first thing in the morning, yes. And in the evening was also pretty easy too, but the heat of the day had already come in by then. It was warmer than if the cool night air was still hanging around. So these two, they were gorgeous. They were a lot of fun to look after. Different fun to young dogs, but they were very affectionate.
They were quite sweet. Fortunately with these two we didn't have to give them medication, but that is something to consider if you do choose to become a pet sitter for older dogs or cats. They are more likely to require medication, so something to think about. In saying that, we did enjoy this house sit. I believe it was about a week. It was a very early house sit for us. I think professionally it was about the 3rd or 4th house sit. And these little guys were really cute. So we hope that you've enjoyed everything that we've shared in this video. Please like, share and subscribe. Really would like to continue growing this channel and sharing more information with you.
Any comments, questions? If you've got anything that you want us to cover in this upcoming video, the one that's going to be about the house sitting, legal, tax, blah, blah, blah stuff, chuck it in the comments below. Tell us. Like, we can front load this and we can help you get some information.
Yeah, what do you want to know? Okay guys, until next time, have a wonderful day and we'll see you soon.
Buenos tacos.
Bye.